Welcome to Kyle and Nick on Film. We're talking about a movie that's just about to open up in theaters. We've previously talked about Wim Wenders before with
right. Yeah, sometimes
movies.
when he didn't make a lot, he's spans of not making movies, and then all of a sudden he gets a spark and just starts making movies, and yeah. So
this one originated from a series of short films that were going to be made about new toilets in Tokyo. So let's talk Perfect Days. All right, welcome back to the show, everybody. I'm one of your hosts, Kyle Goethe from GoatFilmReviews.com.
Okay. We've gone a long way of banning flushing working toilets, and now we're here.
That's fair.
All right, I'm Nick from the St. Paul Filmcast. Thanks for finding us. Thanks for watching. And for our loyal fans, thank you for continuing to support the show. Hey, you can follow the show on X and on Instagram. We're closer on Threads, too. Both Kyle and I are members of Minnesota Film Critics Alliance. Check out that webpage for critics reviews as well as ours. We do have a Patreon. Check that out for some great deals, great content, and opportunities to tell us what movies we could review in the future. With, of course, a shout out to you. And another thing, hit the like and subscribe button. Make a comment down below. It's a little thing you can do, but it's a major thing that helps us with the show and programming. And today we're talking about Wim Wenders.
Yeah, so...
Did I say it right?
I think it's Wim Wenders.
Wim Wenders, right.
The window cleaners.
I know I get corrected by Brian when I talk about it, right?
This is the story of Hirayama, a toilet cleaner with a love of reading, listening to cassettes, and the very act of living as he glides through the lives of others.
On a personal note, I have over 15 years experience in the custodial arts profession. I don't do it anymore. So I used to work at being a custodian in a factory and in a high school. And it's very similar atmosphere when you work at custodian because I've had the experience of having good friend relationships with people, best friends, but then I put on the custodian uniform and roll out a barrel and they come down the hallway of the same building. It's like, I don't know you. You seem invisible as a custodian and people don't want to like touch you, interact with you. It's almost like you were invisible. And this movie kind of shows us a little bit how you're almost a nobody. But you're a crucial element to it, society as well.
Yeah. I want to ask how often you won tic-tac-toe while working, but I won't.
No. It's on the wall. It wasn't a piece of paper. Of course, we're in America.
Just right in the skull.
Just carve it right.
Just carve it away.
Yeah.
They'll replace that.
Yeah.
No, I think there is that sense to our main character in that I'm not sure that he is all that against the idea of disappearing. He's kind of has this life of solitude. This movie has a very Gene Dealman kind of a way about it, where we're just watching someone living for several days.
Yeah, Andy Warhol used to do that with his avant-garde movies. Just somebody in the living room, just being the person or something like that.
Yeah. I used to say, actually, the toughest thing to do in a film was to do a single location, single character film. Or single location, dual character film. Yeah. I take that back now. One thing I've realized over the past few years is it is really hard to show us mundanity on film, to show us somebody who's just doing their job for about 2 hours.
Right.
That's the hardest thing to do, is to make that worth watching. And this is a case where I did quite find this movie entrancing.
Yeah, going back, I can only think of a few movies where there was a custodian as a focal point throughout the story. Eyewitness with William Hurt and Sigourney Weaver, but that's because he's a janitor uncovering a murder mystery.
Yeah, something definitely happens there.
And then you got the school janitor from Breakfast Club, but he's also in a supporting role. You don't really see the mechanics of people operating, being a custodian, and you see it him. He's just the meticulous detail he has to what we think is just a couple seconds we spend into something like that in atmosphere. But it also kind of shows the beauty of it too.
Yeah, there's a meditation to what he's doing, which is a weird way to look at it, but I guess it would probably make it easier to get through the days of that, of being looked downcast upon, of having people that you're working with, you're happy with your job, but like there's the smug kid that's with you that just needs some money so he can go get his girlfriend, and like, you know, you've got to get through it somehow. I think a lot of people struggle with that 40-hour work week where it's just getting to the end of it.
Yeah, for me, I love that I had a routine and I had a time, and then your brain, you can just think of other things you could do. But also, there's nobody around you. I usually did night shift kind of custodians. And you have that sense of your brain can just kind of, it's also a meditation kind of
Yeah.
And of course, it gets disrupted by some other things, you know, but then, right, that's the hesitation of, there's a beauty to this. And I love that he shows that.
Yeah. And I had someone point out after seeing the film that there was 4 distinct like short stories throughout his life, and I didn't even really catch that upon watching it because I was just more entranced with the day-to-day mundanity of things. That like having him interact with the girl that stole his video or his cassette tape, and having him kind of journey with the bar and journey with his niece when she shows up, because that's a big portion of what the marketing for the film is the niece showing up. So I was waiting for that scene to happen. There is something really special to just the idea of existing in a world with somebody for 2 hours. That seems to be the big thing.
I love that.
Well, I think about like when the Matrix Resurrections came out. I'm gonna make a weird comparison here. When that film came out, the people who loved it and the people who hated it all said one positive about that film, which was it was nice to exist in the world of the Matrix again. And I think that's great for that. This is one where I think it was nice to exist in the world of Hirayama.
Right, and I love Wenders does a wonderful thing of comparison. Like here, he's cleaned the facility, but then he goes somewhere to clean himself. It's almost like he's a prop to facilitate a cleanse outside of it.
Yeah, he's
like,
part of
the
meditative
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Like even when he has to bathe himself, it's almost like he has to go to the facility on the steps of just like how he treats the bathrooms. Cleans.
It's almost like, like how I hear that delivery drivers tend to wash their cars more frequently because they just use them more frequently. He is the vehicle now that has finished the delivery job, and he is off to get himself clean so that he can go home and be him again.
Yeah. And then his apartment is wonderfully clean.
Yep.
It's sanitation. That's one of the things I kind of put in my brain when I watch it is it's all about a sanitation. Like even in your own personal life, make sure there's nothing that distracts you and you keep driving going forward. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think the only thing that ends up being something like unclean is you see that disruption when people kind of upset the order.
Yeah.
There is Takashi, played by Tokyo Amato, who shows up, asks him to give him, like, help him get some money so that he can go see his girlfriend, and then he takes him to this cassette shop because he wants him to sell his cassettes so that he can make money somehow off of this, and then he takes the money. Like, this whole thing has disrupted his life where now Hirayama is driving home and runs out of gas, but he's given his last money to Takashi. So I really like that when he finally does get home, he opens up the dishwasher, he pulls out the mug, and he has to smell to make sure that the mug's clean enough to use. Yeah. Like, that's the one disruption now, that his life is, like, disordered, and therefore there are dirty things in his home.
Wonderful play that the people that he interacts with mess up his routine of orders, and he doesn't like that. If we just keep it the way it is.
Yeah.
And I can read my William Faulkner and go to bed.
Yeah. Well, like the one scene where the sequences where I feel like he does get like a bit of a change to his world is when he's with the niece or when he's at this bar where he's engaging with people on an emotional level where it's less transactional than something like Takashi trying to get money at the cassette store. Yeah. He's with people who are elevating his frame of view while he's doing the same. His niece takes out the phone to capture this beautiful light shadow play. And he takes out his old camera, and then she points out she still has hers.
Yes.
And that warmed my heart in a movie that I did not expect to warm it in such a way.
And shadow tag with the person.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I love that scene. I think this movie has one of the most blissfully perfect final couple scenes, where it just leaves on the best possible note.
The right ending for the movie.
Yeah. And Wim Wenders is known for working on road movies. I mean, Criterion has a road trilogy collection of different road movies that he's done.
Paris, Texas, for God's sakes, one of the best movies ever.
Many of his movies are just about characters going from one place to another place.
Yeah, the one we critiqued.
And I think that's really funny because here is a movie where, it's lacking the plot of the road movie, the forward trajectory, but it's not all that different from a road movie. It's just that the character is going in a circle instead of a straight line.
Exactly.
I think that's what's the most powerful thing about it.
The routine of me doing my circle.
Yeah. So I really appreciated that about the movie. It's
I haven't seen enough of his movies to say it's where I would have stacked in a hierarchy of movies or something like that. But I think it's a great footnote for him.
Yeah.
I just haven't seen a lot of his recent movies to say that.
I've only seen 4 of his movies, 4 features and 2 short films, and I can confidently say of the 4 I've seen, this is my favorite. But that's 4 out of an 80-year-old's lifetime of films that he made. Wrong Move, I think, was 1975, so we're talking 50 years removed from just that film. Right. The last thing I'd seen that he released was actually a documentary on the Pope, which, again, I don't know how he picks these movies. Like I said in the opening, I'm not lying when I say this. He was brought to Tokyo after the pandemic because they had a Tokyo project. I'm trying to remember it
Public
here.
bathrooms.
Yeah, to observe the Tokyo Toilet Project, 17 uniquely created toilets in Tokyo by different creators, meant to be kind of like an artistic view of the toilets.
Yeah.
He was asked to
There's got
film
one
things.
in the park that's kind of cool. Like you turn off the light and you can't see.
Oh, it's so weird. I love it.
Yeah.
Because I don't know that I'd trust it.
I still don't trust it. Like you turn off the switch and now nobody can see in it. Well, I have to go to the bathroom in this plastic cubicle. Right?
And so the Tokyo guys who brought him in wanted them to just make like short films showing off like this wonderful creative installation. And instead he was like, I'm going to write this. And it took him 3 weeks to write. They shot it in 17 days and you have a movie. Not only that, you have a movie that is on the best international shortlist. This is Japan's submission. They chose this over Godzilla.
Oh my gosh.
So like,
oh my gosh.
And this episode, now officially we are recording this before the Oscar nominees drop, so we don't know if Perfect Days will be up for Best International Feature. It is in the final 15 shortlist though.
Okay.
At the time of filming. I do think it's going to secure a spot. Make sure to comment down below if I'm wrong.
It should, but that's a surprise that they go with this one instead of Godzilla.
I don't know that they knew that Godzilla was going to have the hit, and you had to submit earlier, so
right.
Got to make that choice, make the call you have.
What do you think? Keep the conversation going. Put a like and a comment down below so we can keep the conversation going.
Yeah. Did this movie add 2 extra hours
just
to
like
your
this
Perfect
guy.
Days? Yeah, there you go. Let us know in the comments. And give us your favorite Vin Vendors film. We've got a lot we haven't covered. We've only made 2 episodes.
I'm surprised we never talked Paris, Texas yet.
I've been dying to do Kings of the Road, but I've got to set aside 3 hours to watch it. So that's the that's the one in my mind. But definitely pick the one that we should be talking about next. And if we like your idea, we'll probably choose it. Thank you guys for joining us. Now go see the film and then come back and give us your thoughts.